Hey everyone, Corey here with you for Dr. Marketing Tips, and I wanted to take a few minutes and kind of walk through ways to create a form. That's something that we get asked a lot at Dr. Marketing Tips, especially where patient satisfaction is concerned, and there's, obviously a pretty big emphasis on that this year and moving forward. So what you see on the screen is actually my personal Google account, and if you don't have one of those, you should. But this is, I think, one of the easiest and best ways to create a form and keep track of all of the responses. It's very easy to do. So I'm going to walk you through that here in the next couple of minutes. And remember that if there is no identifiable patient data, then this is a perfectly viable source to create a form. If you are going to have any sort of identifiable patient data, there are some paid options that you can do that we're not really going to go over in this webinar. But if you're interested in those, you can shoot me an email at corey@drmarketingtips.com, and I will gladly share those with you. So let's go ahead and jump in. So what you see here, like I said, is my personal Google account. And if you notice up here in the address bar, this is actually drive.google.com. So if you type that in to your address bar, you'll wind up at a page that looks similar to this. On the left side over here, you're going to want to click New and head down and create a Google form. Simple as that. So here is your basic form, and I'm going to go ahead and kind of fill in some of these spots. You obviously want to title your form Patient Satisfaction, okay? And then you'll see, let's jump right into the couple of options here. The form settings, this bar will fill in as they're answering questions if you've got quite a long survey. But typically medical offices, we see they have 8 to 10 questions, so I don't know if that's something that you really need or want to check right there. Only allow one response per person, which would require a login. Again, I don't think that's something that we really have to worry about for our forms here. Shuffle question order, that's up to you, personal preference, whether you have a specific order you want to answer the questions in or not. And down here, moving into the question, so here's obviously where you would type your question for the form. Let's go with what did you think of your service at your most recent appointment? All right, so now we have the option here. If you see question type, so we've got a multiple choice option. So, we could just say it was excellent, it was good, etc., poor. Then, if you want to select different options, it's very easy with the question type. So multiple choice, and you'll see here, you can actually, by selecting text, you'll get a open form response where they'll actually type in their answer right here. Same thing with the paragraph, it's just a little bit longer. Then you've got your multiple choice, which is what we had just filled out. Check boxes, so they can select more than one option if that's something that they're interested in doing. You can choose from a list, so there's several different things listed here that they can select from. Scale, which I think is great to see these on forms all the time. So scale, you want it to be 1 to 10, 1 being the 1 being the poor, 10 being great. And what's great about Google Forms is, let's say you set this up as your first question and you're like, well, I think I did it right, but I'm not really sure. Go ahead and click done. You'll see it there, and if that's not enough for you to be sure, you can go ahead and this option right here, click View Live Form. It opens up a window, and this is what your form looks like. So then you can see, oh, okay, that's exactly what I wanted it to look like. Hop back over, and then you can make changes, just like that. So to add another question, you just click the Add Item button here, and this will be your next question. And again, you can go through the options here to select multiple question types. There's advanced settings. Again, so what this would do is if you've got, let's say, 5 options here and you just select this, they will see the options in a different order. I don't know if that's really necessary either for these forms. That's the great thing about Google Forms is it gives you a lot of options. They're very clear, they're very laid out, in an easy to read format. But for our purposes, we don't really need to go too crazy with the customizations and such. So once you get all your questions in here, let's say you're happy with the way that the form is progressed and you're ready to kind of launch it. So you don't want, like I said, if you hop over into here, this is what the form looks like. You don't want this blue background, white. It's very impersonal kind of looking. So over here, there's a change theme button. And on the right side of your screen, you'll see that you can switch up your theme. I don't know if we want to go with a carnival or a fair either. Volleyball, great time, but it doesn't really make sense for some medical offices. So scroll through these, there's plenty of options. And if you don't see anything that you like, at the very top for your default theme, you can always customize it. And they actually have a pretty wide array of customization options as well. You can choose your own header image. So that would go right here, and that could be your logo or a picture of your physician, something along those lines. You can change the title, the description. You can even change the way that questions look. Let's say, if you want a different sort of font for your questions for whatever reason, you can also customize that. You've got different options for the text. Once you actually get into the forms, you can change the form background color, the page background if you don't want this nice sky blue here. So it's very customizable, which I personally love. So that's basically how to set up the form. And obviously the next most important part of creating the form is viewing the responses. And what's great about Google Forms is it will dump all of the responses into your Google Drive Sheets account. So what that means is it will create a spreadsheet for you, and at any point in time you can click the link, go to the spreadsheet, and everything will be itemized and customized by question for you. And that's updated in real time. So at any time you click that link, you'll see all of the latest responses that are in there. And to get there, over here, you'll see where it says responses. It's got a 0 because I'm obviously still creating this form. No one has taken the survey just yet. But if you click that, you can get a summary of responses, or right here, this is what you'll want to do right when you create the form, is choose your response destination. So when you select that, right now it's set to go to a new spreadsheet called Patient Satisfaction Responses. And if you click Create, that has just created and you notice this button changed, that has just created a Google Sheet, which is basically Google's version of Excel online, that will categorize and keep all these responses for me. So if I click that, you'll see that it will open up the sheet here, and you get a timestamp so you can see when the survey was filled out. And here's the first question. So obviously if there was more questions, they would go along here, and you can categorize all your responses like that. And what's great about this is not only is it easy to check, you just have to click a link and see what the responses are, but if you ever need to present it for a report, or you need to show a superior or a doctor or something like that, go to File, Download As, and bam, right there is Microsoft Excel. So you can just download this into a format that everyone is familiar and comfortable with, and you can show real-time patient satisfaction data from your Google form. And so that about wraps it up. I think that, like I said, Google Forms is a wonderful and super easy way to create these online kind of living and breathing forms. Very easy to change, very easy to view responses on the fly. I think it's a wonderful resource for medical practices. Again, I'm Corey with Dr. Marketing Tips. You can always find us online at drmarketingtips.com or on Twitter at Dr. Marketing Tips. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me directly, Corey at drmarketingtips.com. And I want to say thank you guys for hanging out, and we'll talk to you soon.